Let's say you're walking along a beach one day and you came across me, and I was there with a big digger and I'd made a massive house out of sand. What would you say? You'd say, "What are you doing here, Andy?" And if I were to reply to you, "I'm moving into my massive sand house that I've just built," how would you respond? You'd say, "Andy, do you see the sea over there? The tide is out at the moment, but it's going to come washing in very soon, and when it does, your sand house is going to get wiped away." Let's say you're walking in a field and you see that I've managed to, because I've used genetically modified vegetable seeds, you see that I managed to grow an enormous marrow. And I've carved out of the marrow a couple of rooms, and I'm in there with my plasma TV watching Sky Sports. You come in, you say, "What are you doing here?" I say, "I live in this marrow. This is my new home now." How would you respond? You would say, "You're crazy, Andy. You can't live in a vegetable. This vegetable's going to rot. It might, you might be able to eat some of it now and think, oh, that's great, but it's going to rot away. You can't live here." Too often, what we choose to do as people is we live in a place that will never, ever last when it comes to the things that we're hoping it will be. We look for security in people. We look for security and identity in those around us, and we often depend on them. And it's good to depend on people. I have lots of people I depend on. We're made to be interdependent as human beings, and certainly as the church. But our ultimate dependence has to rest in Jesus and in his love. He is the only one who will never let us down, and he's the only one who is always going to be faithful. That's one of the reasons why God is described as a rock in the Bible. And in these chapters, you have prophecies against Egypt and Cush. That involves Isaiah walking around butt naked for 3 years. Be careful if you want to be a prophet, you might have to get naked. Babylon, Edom, Arabia, and it comes to ultimately Jerusalem. And when it talks about Jerusalem and the fact that the Valley of the Vision, which is just where Jerusalem was, even Jerusalem is getting destroyed. And at this point, you would have thought the people of God would turn to God. They would turn to him as their security. But it says in verse 11, "You build a reservoir between the two walls for the water of the old pool, but you did not look to the one who made it, or have regard for the one who planned it long ago." What God is looking for people to do is to turn to him, to have regard for him, and to rely on him. And even the Israelites, when they face ultimate destruction, will not do that. Instead, they just decide to eat a last meal and say, "Hey, let's just have a good time because we're going to die tomorrow." God offers you something that no one else ever can. He offers you himself as a rock for your identity, for your purpose, for your meaning, for your peace, for truth, for love. Stop building houses of sand and houses of vegetables by relying on other people for your ultimate security. Turn only to him. He's the only one who will never ever let you down.